Hello again. It's Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Ashley Stremme is virtually in Pennsylvania. I am here in the Hercules Tire Studios, so let's give this a whirl. How are you?
I'm great. Obviously, here in Pennsylvania, I'm at the homestead with the parents at the moment. I was hoping to come up and see some sprint car racing at Port Royal Speedway, but it was just too dang cold and too dang windy here.
Yeah, you know, Ashley, there was all the talk about Port Royal and racing, but it was so cold. Could you imagine what that would have done to the engine of those cars? I mean, that was the thing, and one of the comments was the engine builders were consulted on this because I'm telling you what, they'd have burned up 16 engines in that cold weather.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously the equipment takes a toll, but I can't imagine going that rate of speed as a driver and not being in my snowsuit as cold as that air has to be hitting them.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It is neat, that's for sure. Also neat, the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. We finally had World of Outlaw racing, and when we did, it was Carson Macedo and Aaron Reitzel getting the wins down in Florida, but there's just something right with the world when we have the World of Outlaws on, and hopefully we're right with the world for a while now.
Agreed. Obviously, again, not what we've wanted to see. We're missing that California swing, but obviously the World of Outlaws are making lemonade out of the lemons that they've been dealt. And like you said, it's great to be back racing with the World of Outlaws for sure.
Making lemonades out of lemons, that's for sure. Boy, isn't that what we're all doing here in 2020 and 2020 Junior, 2021 that we have, for sure. Hey, we are going to talk with Blake Hahn. He is one of the forerunners and top drivers in the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, so can't wait to talk to him and see what he has got prepared as they get ready to go racing next weekend down in the great state of Texas. Speaking of great racing, it was the fabulous Volusia Speedway Park. And Carson Macedo, what a move. Amazing speed as he raced past Sam Hafertepe Jr. Here's Johnny Gibson with a call on DirtVision.com.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
There will be 5 laps to go. Macedo by Hafertepe for the lead in turn 2. Carson Macedo shot out of a cannon and takes the lead from Sam Hafertepe.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Deaf, the official deaf of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion. Performance. We are Team Dryden.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Let's go to the Hercules Tires hotline. One of the mainstays and top racers in the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. Blake Hahn joins us on the hotline. Hello, Blake. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We are doing well. You have got to be with last year being so messed up with 16 or 18 national tour races. I know you got to race some, but you have got to be really fired up to get going and get on this national tour starting next week down in Texas.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. You know, especially being able to start at Devil's Bowl. It's somewhere we're familiar with, so you know we're excited to go there. And it seems like the last few years we've been there, we've had some good runs. So it's definitely a good place for us to start the season at. So we're really looking forward to it.
Blake, it's your 8th season with the Lucas Oil ASCS. What have you learned over these years, and what have you gained from traveling with them for these last 8 years?
You know, the main thing is really just trying to be consistent and, you know, running for a championship. That's just one of the things you have to deal with, is just trying to be as consistent as you can, you know, racing with the guys that we race with every weekend. But, you know, also you can't be afraid to change things also. You know, I've learned that over the last couple of years. You can't stick to what you know. You also, you know, got to keep trying to move forward and try to become faster too. And, you know, I've been able to have a bunch of good people behind me and teach me a lot of stuff along the way. So, you know, luckily I've got a bunch of people I can lean on and bounce some ideas off of. I feel like that's benefited me a lot.
Blake, I've asked this question to a lot of drivers in a lot of different series. The sprint car, it's the same car basically we've been running forever and ever. The 360 engine, the same engine. The tires move around a little bit and they change a little bit. Yet everyone I talk to says, we've got to be ready to change. We've got to be ready to adapt. What changes, what adapts, how? I mean, I don't know if I necessarily understand it. What have you been working on and changing over the course of the last few years on your program?
Well, I know a main thing now is the shock program, of course. That's a main tuning deal for the sprint cars. And then, like I said, people aren't afraid to try things. So people kind of get far out there on stuff on the torsion bars also, and that's another way of our suspension. And, people are getting unique in the way they can change things. So you kind of have to think outside the box, and kind of opens up your mind as a race car driver. Kind of got to think outside the box and kind of try to think of something before everybody else does. But when it comes to stuff, kind of like changing the wings and stuff around, and like you said earlier, kind of the tire packages have been changing throughout the years, so you kind of have to accommodate that with some shock changes and other stuff along the lines.
Like you said, there was only 16, 18 races last year. How hard is it to kind of get that ball rolling and find that momentum when you're not able to race that much?
Yeah, it was tricky for us. Last year was kind of a tricky year for us. We started out early in the season, and the end of February and beginning of March, we were out in California, and started out with a good, strong run in Merced. And the next time we raced, we actually ended up going upside down and missing the A feature. So it kind of set us back for the first weekend. And, like you said, we had a while off, and we actually had a couple months off at that point. And had to wait till about May or June before we were able to race again, and it just kind of was weird. Typically we got 2 or 3 races a weekend, and can log quite a bit of laps. So mentally it was kind of difficult, but with the simulators I was able to run quite a bit of stuff online, and with everybody being trapped at home, it seems like there was a bunch of racers online. So it was pretty neat to be able to race with the people I was racing with online and kind of keep fresh in that aspect of it.
It's funny how time flies, because now that seems like an eternity ago when we were all doing that. I mean, it's just like just things just keep things are coming at us quickly. That's for sure. Blake, you talked about you talked about yourself as a driver. I think Ashley asked you, what have you changed? What have you learned? Your program. I saw pictures this weekend of your race car. What a beautiful car you and your guys have put together. How is your program now adapted and grown as you've established yourself as a full-timer on the tour?
So like I said, we like to try to change things and try to continue to move with everyone else. But we like to stay loyal to our partners, and we really like to keep everything we've got same for the most part. Just kind of change some stuff on the fine-tune stuff. So typically for the most part, we've got the same brands and stuff on board, which is nice. But really we don't have to change a whole lot on our car other than just some fine-tuning stuff in the shocks and the torsion bars and stuff.
You say just fine-tuning things and changing your car. One thing that hasn't changed with your car is the yellow that everybody knows Blake Hahn at. But you have changed your colors, per se, blue, teal, purple. This year you chose pink. What is there a story behind that?
No. So we started when we created our team with my grandpa and us. We had the blue with the yellow, of course, and something we really liked, and we did that for 3 years and ended up changing to the purple. And we did the purple for 3 years, so we figured it was time to change. And with how the car turned out for our midget at Chili Bowl, it was a great turnout. We thought it ended up looking really good, and kind of got us looking forward to seeing what it looked like on the sprint car. So we just changed a little bit of stuff. And one thing I really enjoy about the yellow, it definitely pops on the track, but we're not afraid to put some other colors on there to make sure it stands out. I think that's one thing that I enjoy a lot, is having the kids come down to the car after the races. And I think me being able to have that many fans being kids is part of it, just being able to pop out to the eyes of the kids. The bright colors are always standing out on the track, and I think it turned out good this year. And I kind of I take pride in how good our cars look. Like you said earlier, I feel like we've built a pretty beautiful car, and we have over the last few years. And that goes out to the people that have taught us how to build good cars and to continue to build good cars.
2 things I've learned in doing Wing Nation. 3 years. Blake Hahn's not scared to change the accent colors on his yellow race car. And David and Ashley Stremme change houses because they move every 3 years as well. So it's the same thing, Ashley. It's the same thing.
It's true.
Yeah, you understand it totally. So it is neat.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. Mix it up a little bit. Blake, stay there with us. Everyone else, hang in there. More with Blake Hahn in just a moment.
Hey Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honeycrisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey.
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy. Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Blake Hahn joins us on the Hercules Tire Hotline. Blake, I'm just going to be totally honest with you here. I was snooping around on your Facebook, okay, and you have set the bar so high for every man that is going to get married, has gotten married, wants to get married. With your wedding, the bow tie, the handlebar mustache, recently got married to Sierra back in early February. Man, it looked like you guys had a great day there celebrating the beginning of your new life together.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I got to give a shout out to her. She did a great job. She planned it all and did all the decorating herself, and the bow tie is her idea, and luckily I can still have the stash there. But, it really did turn out good. We had a videographer there, and being able to go back and look at it, because it seemed like it went by so fast in the moment. So being able to go back and look at the video, it was good to kind of be able to relive it and realize how much detail she put into it and see how beautiful it was.
Racers don't get to take vacations often, so I appreciate the fact that you did it in the off season. But I've got to ask where you ended up going on your honeymoon, because it looked very tropical.
Yeah, so that was one of the kickers when we got together. You can't get married in the middle of summer, and it just doesn't work out. So we kind of got narrowed down to just a couple months, and with Chili Bowl and Shootout being in January, it really kind of narrowed us down. So February was what it was, and luckily after we were over, we had a good family friend of ours help us out, and we were able to go to Cozumel for a week. So we spent when everybody else was snowed in, we were on the beach enjoying it. So it turned out to be a good time for us to be gone.
So is Sierra a racing girl? I mean, has she embraced this racing? I don't know that she has a choice about embracing it, but is she a racing girl? Does she have a background in it, or is now she just jumped in all full 2 feet into it?
Yeah, so she got thrown in all in. So her first race was Shootout and Chili Bowl, but she has no background. So I went to high school with her brother, and she was just a few grades below me, and really never heard anything about a sprint car until we started talking. And like I said, her first race was Shootout and Chili Bowl, so she really kind of got the full-fledged deal. So I kind of told her after that, if you can handle this whole week's worth, it'll be all right. But I also told her it really doesn't get a whole lot better than this either. So kind of set the bar high, but also kind of threw her in head first.
I love it.
That's absolutely awesome. It's so true, though. Best week ever. Steve mentioned it earlier, your handlebar mustache. I have to know, how long did it take to get it to that point? And B, do you set that thing in curlers at night? Do you have product you put in it? I'm so curious about this handlebar mustache.
Well, when people ask me how long, I always say, well, I've had it for about a year, but, looking back on it, I've had it for a while now. It's almost been 2, I'm sure. But, my dad has a mustache, and, he's had a mustache my whole life. So I just kind of grew it out just because. And, I ended up, I don't know, I kind of liked it. I ended up just sticking with it. And, went to the local Mexican restaurant here, and one of the guys asked me why I don't grow it out and curl it. And man, I can't do that. So he gave me the tricks and the tips to get it going. So I started doing it just a couple years ago, and stuck with it. And then, I might ought to start doing curlers at night. That's a pretty good idea, actually. But I just end up putting wax in it in the morning and kind of shaping it to what we want.
Yeah, I had one when I was in college. I had one with the curls too, the mustache wax.
Wait, hold on. I gotta ask, what are the tips and tricks that he told you?
Well, just how to trim it up and make sure you're not trimming the wrong hairs, and make sure where to trim it at. And like you said, kind of training it to stay where it needs to be at.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, you trim the wrong. Yeah, exactly. You got to keep that thing perfectly trimmed. That's for sure. Oh my gosh, who knew we had mustache talk here on Wing Nation? We used to talk about sprint car racing on here at one time. One of the things, Blake, I watched the video, and one of the things that just absolutely touched my heart. I love your father, Tommy. I love your grandfather, Emmett. Your family is so close knit, but in most cases it's headed to the racetrack, headed to the car wash, headed here, headed there. That had to just be a neat day for your family to kind of get all out of your comfort zone, get all dressed up, and have a day of celebration like that.
Yeah, it was pretty neat because you hit on it right there. We don't dress up a whole lot, not very often. So when we were able to dress up and all be around each other and enjoy a good night, it's definitely special. And to be able to have my grandparents there is a special moment also, and just have the whole family there. Both sides of my family were there, and for them to all be there and spend the moment with me was unbelievable, really. And you hit on it. We travel up and down the road with each other all the time, and I feel like maybe I sometimes take it for granted, but that night I kind of stood back and seen everybody there, there for me and my wife, and it was something that was, kind of made me feel really good, and kind of, made me realize, what I really have right here in front of me, and made me really grateful for what I do have.
Chills. I got chills. You got a great family, and I know you and Sierra are going to be a great couple as you move forward. And you move forward next week to the famed Devil's Bowl Speedway in Mesquite, Texas. Blake, we appreciate the time. We wish you the best next week as you kick off the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on again. I sure appreciate it, and have a good time talking to you guys.
Always a good time, that's for sure. Blake Hahn joining us on the Hercules Tires Hotline. Stay with us. Our Tweet Your Seat tweet of the week and a lap around the sprint car world are coming up next.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
We're back. You're watching Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit, and it is time for the tweet of the week. It is coming from Travis Yulberg. It is sprint cars on ice. It's the Houghton Lake in Michigan. The lake freezes over and they start racing sprint cars on it. It's kind of like the icebreaker, if you will.
I hope it's not the icebreaker.
But it's not, right?
Yeah, if it's the icebreaker, we got a problem up there. That's
It's so true.
oh my God. We had someone they race them in New Hampshire too. And years ago, I think Kendra and I were co-hosting, and we had someone on, and he talked about the little heaters they have in the car, the studded tires. Man, it's crazy. Really, really neat.
Yeah, we followed along with it this weekend actually, and they got a close up of the tire. And I'm telling you what, if I was a tire guy, I'd quit. Like siping and grooving is terrible, but putting those things, the studs, it's a mess. And I can't imagine. I'd be freezing my kahunas off running out there in that sprint car.
Yeah, I saw Travis's picture there. And that was my first thing. It's like, that looks cold. Yeah.
But they're racing.
Oh, yeah, they are. That's for sure. Great stuff. Hey, let's take a lap around the sprint car world, and we'll start in no other place but Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Well, we'll start with Aliquippa's favorite son. Ashley, one of the great new pairings this year is Mike Effner's number 72 with Tim Schaefer behind the wheel. I think we had a hunch that this thing was going to be pretty good. I don't think those hunches have been off the mark with just their early season run so far.
Yeah, between Mike and his crew chief, Heath Moyle, and then you put the knowledge of Tim in there together and the fact that they're already gelling this quickly in the season, I think it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, and I think they did something wise. They went to Florida, and yes, sometimes you get rained out, sometimes you race. They want to race down at East Bay, but they had a lot of blending and bonding time. We had Tim on. They were bonding at Captain Jack's, by the way. There might have been 12-ounce bonding along the way as well with Tim Schaefer, but I really think that helps the team. And so they picked up, it was his second win at the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, and their season, they plan on some traveling and some staying close to home in Pennsylvania. Mike Hefner's very involved with a couple of tracks up there, so they certainly want to support those, and they're off to a good start for sure. Into turn number 2, and our partner here, stateside, MAV TV, they are jumping into, or have jumped into, the pay-per-view in a big-time way. MAV Motorsports Network and MAV Plus, 226 races. 11 series. Ashley, that's insane to follow along with all of that.
It really is. We've watched several late model shows through them already, but they're also doing the Arca Menard series, the Lucas Oil Dirt late models, the Power Eye midgets. It's incredible what they're doing.
And they've got 10 races with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. So I love it. I love what our friends at MAV TV are doing, and we're glad to be part of the MAV family with Wing Nation here stateside. Let's head down the backstretch into turn number 3. We've got full steam now, and they've got full steam out at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum because it's back again. Priority Aviation, $20,000 Knoxville National bonus returns benefiting the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Open to 410 and 360 drivers. Ashley, in 2019, Lance Deweese won this. He won a $20,000 sponsorship. That was critical to get that team out to Knoxville for the Nationals that year.
It really was, and it ended up being awesome for the Hall of Fame because they ended up raising $60,000 for all of this to get Lance Deweese out there. And last year, unfortunately, it all kind of went kaput because of COVID.
Yeah. But so Robbie Kendall talking about Pennsylvania posse drivers. Now I know he's a Maryland guy, but he is leading it. They put pause on it. He's leading it. But what'll happen is if you raise the most money for the Hall of Fame, you get $20,000. Second most money, $10,000, and third most money, you get $5,000. So there's even prizes back through the field. Neat stuff, that's for sure. Tip of the cap to Jennifer and Richard Marshall. And finally, as we head into turn number 4, fingers crossed for California, Placerville. Man, this is just a great little bull ring out there. They have a test and tune session this weekend. They've been racing at the El Dorado County Fairgrounds since 1965. Insane 360 racing. Ashley, Placerville is California, and fingers crossed they're going to have a good year out there.
Absolutely. NARC and King of the West, as they say, it's the fastest 5-day opener there. Yep. And then 49er Gold Rush with the World of Outlaws in September. And of course, you can't forget the midgets in November for the Hang 10 100 USCA midgets.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be great. It really, truly is. So going to be fun stuff. Our fingers are crossed for a good season at Placerville and everyone out in California. And there you have it, our lap around the sprint car world. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honey Crisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey.
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy. Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit, rolling along. I am in the Hercules Tire Studios in Concord, North Carolina. Ashley is remote up in the great state of Pennsylvania at the home front, at the home base. We talked to Blake Hahn, and the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour kicks off next weekend, March 19th and 20th, at the Devil's Bowl Speedway at famed Mesquite, Texas. Can't believe this, celebrating 30 years. Ashley, I think the big story when we talk about Lucas Oil's ASCS Tour, at least initially, is who's not there. Sam Hafertepe Jr., a 5-time and reigning champ. He's gone 410 racing. Everybody in that tour now thinks they're going to be the champion this year.
I don't doubt it. You know, I should have asked Blake that earlier because I'm sure he's crunching at the bit. He's been in the top 5 the last couple of years, but to know that the one man's out of the way, it makes it maybe a little bit easier.
Maybe a little bit easier. The problem Blake has is a guy named Scott Boguski and a guy named Roger Crockett and Jordan Mallett and Matt Covington, and the list goes on and on. Because what ASCS has with your regional series, it's the great feeder series into the national tour. And so you got so many talented racers. Can't wait to see what happens with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour celebrating their 30th anniversary of the season. Thanks to Blake Hahn, and thank you for joining us here this week on Wing Nation.